You are being haunted by a ghost that has your face. The person in the mirror isn't you. It's a version of yourself built for a world that no longer exists.
If you're tired of living inside an outdated script and ready to update your internal software, hit the like button and subscribe. It's how these system reports keep running.
The most dangerous glitch in the human experience isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's the quiet, intimate cage of I am. You move through life choosing partners, setting limits, and making decisions based on a script you didn't write, yet you treat it as a law of physics. You say things like, "I've always been bad with people. I'm just not creative. I don't have what it takes to lead." They feel like facts. They feel permanent. They are not. They are corrupted files in an ancient system. This glitch doesn't arrive as a dramatic breaking point. It shows up as friction, a life that feels too small for who you've become, a sense that you're still playing a role you outgrew years ago. Every time you think about changing, starting, or risking, you hit an invisible wall. It doesn't say, "You can't." It whispers, "That's not who you are." You've mistaken your history for your identity. You're treating old defenses and survival strategies as if they were your essence. This creates a strange form of alienation. You feel like a spectator in your own life, watching yourself repeat the same characteristic mistakes, not because they're inevitable, but because your system believes that's who you are.
You're waiting for permission to be someone else, not realizing that the person you're waiting for is the very ghost haunting you right now. And if you look closely at where these labels came from, you'll see something unsettling. They weren't written by people who truly knew you. They were written by a parent too overwhelmed to see your sensitivity, who called you difficult. By a teacher too rushed to see your curiosity, who called you unfocused. By a frightened younger version of yourself who learned that being invisible felt safer than being seen. Those moments were emotionally loud, so your brain, built for efficiency, not truth, hit save, and never reopened the file. Now, as a complex adult with real capacity and real choice, you are navigating the present using a map drawn by a terrified 6-year-old. You are a powerful, evolving system being governed by a rough first draft. The cost of this glitch is your future. Every day you remain loyal to this frozen self is a day stolen from the person you're becoming. You aren't stuck. You're executing an old command no one ever told you to cancel. This isn't low self-esteem. It's a structural failure in how your mind understands time and growth. You've turned your biography into a prison, and you're standing guard at the door. As long as memory is treated as truth, you will never be free to act in the present.
To understand why you were trapped in this outdated version of yourself, we have to look at the cold, mechanical efficiency of your brain's architecture. This isn't a spiritual crisis. It's a structural failure in how your mind manages identity. Your brain is a prediction machine. Its primary goal is to conserve energy by creating shortcuts for everything, including who you are. In cognitive psychology, this filing system is known as your self-schema. It's a dense network of beliefs and memories that acts as a cognitive shortcut. Instead of recalculating how to behave in every new situation, your brain simply checks this file to see how someone like you is supposed to act. The problem is that once this file is created, the system becomes hostile to revision. It stops being a neutral record. It becomes a filter. It lets in only the data that confirms what you already believe. This is the foundation of what we call the self-model defect, the glitch where your brain treats a compressed, low-resolution narrative from your past as a permanent, high-definition truth. This defect is reinforced by what researchers call narrative identity. You don't just have memories, you have a story that weaves them into a coherent self. That story gives you continuity, but it has a fatal flaw. It prefers a stable story to a true one.
Your brain would rather you be a consistent failure than an inconsistent success. It chooses a predictable model over an evolving one. If your internal narrative says, "I'm socially awkward," your system will quietly discount moments of ease or confidence to keep that story intact. That is the self-model defect in action. The system isn't trying to tell you the truth. It's trying to keep the user profile from crashing. Any change to your identity is treated as a system threat. Anxiety is deployed to pull you back inside familiar boundaries. You aren't being yourself. You are defending an obsolete file your brain is too efficient to rewrite. What makes this glitch so persistent is where these models are formed. Most self-schemas are written during periods of high emotional intensity, often in childhood when you had no tools to challenge them. A child doesn't just register a rejection, the system builds a model to ensure it never happens again. If you were labeled too loud, your system created a quiet model. If you were dismissed, it created an invisible model. Those were survival strategies. The glitch is that the system never received an update command. It is still running the quiet model in a boardroom, still running the invisible model in adult relationships. Your brain mistook how I had to be for who I am. It confused a temporary adaptation with an essence. That's why change feels like betrayal. Your system reads evolution as erasure, so it keeps you inside a low-resolution version of yourself and presents it every morning as if it were an objective mirror, never disclosing that it's actually an edited, biased archive. You aren't fighting your nature. You are fighting a self-model defect that has convinced you that the map is the territory.
To break the grip of an outdated identity, you have to stop trying to find yourself and start manually editing the code. You cannot simply think your way out of a self-model defect. You have to act your way into a new architecture. The first update is model awareness. This is a simple linguistic override for your internal dialogue. Every time you catch yourself using a fixed "I am" statement, like "I am bad at public speaking" or "I am not a creative person," you must immediately append a mental qualifier, "according to an old build of me." By adding this tag, you shift the label from an absolute truth to a historical artifact. You are essentially telling your system that while the file exists, it is no longer the primary operating system. Next, you must perform a temporal reframing. You need to become a forensic investigator of your own self-image. When you feel the friction of a self-imposed limit, ask the diagnostic question: at what exact moment in my life did I learn this about myself? Trace the origin of the label back to its source. You will often find it leads to a specific failure, a specific person's criticism, or a specific survival strategy from your childhood. Once you pin the label to a date and a context, it loses its power as a universal law. You realize that being invisible wasn't your essence, it was just how you managed a difficult environment many years ago. By localizing the glitch in time, you allow the system to see it as a temporary patch that has outlived its usefulness. You aren't deleting your history, you are simply acknowledging that the context has changed, and the old software is no longer compatible with your current reality. The final and most aggressive patch is behavioral disproof. Your brain protects consistency at all costs, so to change the model, you have to feed it proof that it's wrong.
You don't need a massive life overhaul. You need micro-actions that deliberately contradict the old script. If your model says you are unorganized, spend exactly 5 minutes organizing one single drawer. If your model says you are not a leader, make one small decision for a group today. These aren't meant to fix your life overnight. They are meant to create a deliberate glitch in your old self-image. Each time you act outside of your established character, you are providing the system with high-quality data that proves the old map is incomplete.
Over time, these small contradictions accumulate until the old model becomes unsustainable and the system is forced to perform a global update to account for the new data. No system should ever be defined by its first draft, and you are no exception. You have the right and the biological responsibility to stop being loyal to a ghost that is holding you back. You are not a static object. You are a continuous process.
If this diagnostic report helped you see the walls of your own internal cage, help us spread the signal. Hit the like button and subscribe to ensure you don't miss our next update. What is one frozen label you've been carrying for too long? Share it in the comments below. We're reading every entry. Stay awake. The system is always running.